we're done jiggling, aren't we?
Yeah, we're fine. We're fine.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I've got the recording message coming up. So, are you enjoying the experience? How have you found it?
Yeah, it's been a very fun experience throughout the year. I've learned quite a bit about myself, my teammates. That's how people grown through this experience.
Yeah. Well, if you think somebody's done really well, you can nominate somebody for a Journey Award, you know, and one team member can nominate another. It doesn't have to come from an adult, the nomination. So you should think about that. Have a look at Y Online and see if you want to nominate somebody, you know, from the team. How many of you are there in the team? Because obviously I can only see four.
There's Issa, myself, Tony, Alexander or Alex, and Tom.
So just the four of you? Nobody else?
No one else.
Wow, that's a lot of work for four. Well done.
Thank you.
To be honest, the size of their team has actually been to their benefit because they managed to make decisions a lot quicker. They were all very sort of cohesive. And generally, you know, thinking along the same lines. So actually, they tend to, the other team, there was 10 members, which I tend to find is more of sort of the average number of people in a team. But the small team actually progressed much quicker with their whole, well, before lockdown anyway, with all their, you know, their decisions about, you know, what their item was going to be. And you know, and everything else basically. So I think it's almost a lesson to be learned that actually the smaller almost seems to be the better.
Sometimes, yeah, I agree with you. And I think the other thing about having a small team is that you're not thinking somebody else is doing a job or a task. You know, there's only the four of you and you have to make sure that, you know, it's your responsibility because there isn't anyone else. And I think with larger teams, what my experience is that somebody thinks somebody else is doing that and some of the jobs get left. So but yeah, I agree with you. I think that making decisions is obviously a lot easier, Miss Bella. I think my problem is when a team is very successful, there's quite a heavy workload on just four people. But you've managed it okay.
Yeah, they've managed it very well.
Okay, good.
And no fallouts either, I don't think.
No, it's just about good communication. And, you know, someone has an issue, then we refer them to our HR department, which is Alex. He sits us down and we just resolve any disagreements before they get too big. Yeah.
Fair enough. Was it a welcome distraction having something like this to do as well with everything that was going on in wider society?
It was terrific. It was a really nice break, in particular in the third lockdown that lasted between January and March. It was really quite nice because in school lessons we aren't able to see each other or speak at all. It's a presentation essentially. So actually being able to communicate with a group of students of my own age about something so interesting to us that we're actually building as a company together was terrific. It was really enjoyable.
Good for you. Good for you. Well, hopefully the judges will be with us in a minute.
Sorry, we were a little early because we weren't sure if technology would be on our side or not. So I just wanted, it has failed us historically before. So I just wanted to make sure that we were definitely not late.
No, and I agree with that. And I was here ready and waiting anyway. And I wanted to make sure that the recording was going to work as well. So it's to my benefit as well that you arrived early. Thank you. So you're having this in your lunch hour? Or are you just having a few minutes out from a lesson?
No, we went every Wednesday afternoon at this school is extracurricular activities. So Young Enterprise is always one of those, which we offer every year to the year 12s, so the lower sixth. So yeah, it's always Wednesday afternoon. I mean, there's a number of other activities that go on elsewhere as well. But no, this is always set aside in the school for sixth form. So they choose at the beginning of the academic year sort of which activity they want to join, and then we move on from there.
Because I've got schools that traditionally would do that, Wednesday afternoons enrichment, and I think there's about half a dozen offerings, of which Young Company Programme is one. But they didn't run, some of the schools that I would traditionally expect to be working with actually didn't do any enrichment because of the situation in September.
Well, so the majority were we started off with this in September, and then the majority of other activities were cancelled throughout. I'm not sure whether it was the second or the third lockdown, but the head was absolutely categorical. The head is one of the biggest supporters of Young Enterprise. And you know, over the previous years when we haven't maybe had such a successful year potentially, and we sort of, you know, discussed whether we should continue, he's absolutely adamant that Young Enterprise will always be part of the extracurricular activities.
Well, fair play. And I think you owe Miss a box of chocolates at the end of the year, guys.
Oh, definitely.
Okay. Right, I've got...
I'm all Weight Watchers. Thank you anyway for the thought.
Miss Weller doesn't eat chocolate, obviously.
No, and I don't really like chocolate much anyway. But
Really?
no,
Really?
no.
Oh, wow.
I would rather have a lump of bread.
All right, we'll get you some very nice artisan gourmet bread then.
I have one judge already waiting, so I'm going to admit them. Okay. Hello, Sarah. Hello. So I'm Ruth. I'm Angie's colleague, and I'm in the background at this session. And it's already, you can see a message. It should already be recording. I'm waiting for your fellow judge, but they're not here yet. So I don't know if you wanted to start and just let them join, because I'm not sure if it's you or the other judge that has to have a hard stop just before.
I have to have a hard stop. I'm sure Christina will join us.
Yeah.
Will join us in a second because she is fairly good at timing with things. Let me just have a quick look to see if she's. I know her quite well. Just
so feel free to. The boys are ready, obviously, as you can see. So, and there is just the 4 of them. So feel free to start. Wait until Christina can join us.
Yes. Okay. Cool. I would rather than not start the pitch, because I think it would be great to have her here. Is it worth introducing who I am, or what would be useful? Shall I go for that?
Yeah, introduce who you are and maybe just a general. Oh, here she is, Christina. That's just on cue. Christina, hello.
Hello.
Just on cue. So I'm going to turn my camera off, and what I'll do is I'll come back about a minute before the 10 minutes is up. Okay. So when you see my face again, you know you need to draw it to a close. Is that fair enough?
Great.
That sounds good.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. Hello.
Good afternoon.
We're going straight into questions, Sarah.
Say again.
We're going straight into questions.
Is that what we're doing, or are we?
Yeah, we're ready for you.
Okay, got it. Great. Thanks, guys. No, thanks for sharing your presentation and your proposal as well. It was really interesting to see what you guys have been up to, and I love that you've got your pencil case with you guys there as well. My question was, I know that you guys haven't got to the point where you're actually selling things, but wanted to hear what you're predicting in terms of being able to sell them and what you're forecasting with your finances.
Right. So in terms of selling, so this is quite a lengthy discussion. So first of all, we thought we would sell to the students. Then we thought like trying to persuade the students would be a little too difficult. And it's not that we couldn't do it, because I believe in my team very strongly, but I believe that but I thought, so now we're thinking of selling to schools directly, like in wholesale. Mm-hmm. So the pencil case by itself, we'll plan to sell it for about £3.50. And the cost of the whole thing, surprisingly, is only like £2. So obviously the £1, so that's profit. And then, So we plan to sell in a bulk to the schools. So we'll do 10 for £30. And then we'll kind of just scale up from there. It depends on the conversation. So we plan to sell to the schools wholesale at a reasonably cheap price. So then they could add their own value onto it, and then they could pass it on to their students. Mm-hmm. And we thought that would be a way for us to obviously do business with the schools, and then it's left to the school's discretion as well. It gives them the freedom of doing what they'd like to do.
Great. And I saw also in your proposal you've been thinking a lot about working with schools and that. And I think it's really a strong approach as well. Have you contacted any schools yet? Where are you with those kind of conversations?
Yes. Recently I contacted a school in the area, and we're currently in negotiations. So I've pitched the product. They'd like to know a bit more. So we're just having a bit of an email conversation, building a nice relationship. And hopefully that's the first contact of many. Mm-hmm. We plan to gradually expand the network within the region. and then maybe even nationally as well. Who knows?
Great. Christina, over to you.
Cool. Hi guys. So I just wanted to ask a little bit more about what you've done in terms of testing things. So you mentioned that you've had somebody try it out and they thought it was great. What other testing have you done in terms of understanding, for example, how much demand you would have in a school? Like how many students would be interested? Is it everybody and anybody, or are there specific students that would be your specific customers? And if you haven't done that, what are you planning to do to test that area?
Well, based on what we've seen in the past, in my experience, in my primary school, for our SATs, our teachers actually brought us a similar product, and that was 60 of us in the year. It was 6 years ago now, but if they still carried on that, then that would be 60 products for us to sell. And that was something that all the students at the school enjoyed a lot, actually.
Great, okay.
I think another thing that was particularly interesting in terms of the actual product that we've made is that these are all products and pencils, like pencils, pens, etc., that we've all used in exams before, and all of our other clientele have also used, and they also see that these are the best pens that you can possibly use. So for me, I'm left-handed, and this basically means I can't use fountain pens in exams, or it will completely smudge and ruin my work completely. So we've made use of ballpoint pens, and in order for it to not smudge, and also just this has enabled us to expand our product to as many people as possible and take their needs into consideration. Another thing in particular is for pencils. We decided to choose HB pencils that were 2 shades lighter in order for us to actually be able to rub them out in the heat of examination. So we have taken our product research incredibly seriously and contacted our potential buyers as well to also use their expertise, as it were.
Brilliant. And just one other question. How do you see the business evolving in the future? So say you get into a couple of schools and you're selling the product. What else do you think you could do in the future? Is there any areas you can expand into?
I think that one of the things that we could possibly move into is actually a service in which we go into the schools and we teach them revision techniques in order to better prep them for the examination ourselves. As we've done the exams, we know what we're supposed to do per se. And I think that having a student-to-student communication could be really, really good moving forwards, especially given lockdown isolating so many people. I think that you'd actually enable them to be able to speak to someone of their own age or slightly older who's done the exams and who have done the exams themselves. It would be terrific. So we could possibly move more into a service-based relationship moving forwards due to the power of positivity that we've spoken through our pencil case.
Yeah, it will just help us build on our USP. Obviously, the little help sheet inside of the pencil case. So it'll be like, as Alex said, that face-to-face interaction, which we find to be very crucial to success in the academic environment.
Great. Sarah, did you have another question?
Yeah, I kind of wanted to get a little bit around, you've mentioned lockdown already, and I think it's been very evidently impacting what you guys are creating. So well done also being able to kind of create something in these times. I did young enterprise when I was at school as well. I know that I learned a lot from that kind of experience, and wondered if one of you could talk to me about one of the challenges maybe you guys faced as a team and what you're learning about it as well in terms of business.
See, so as a team, I'll be completely honest here. When I started at the start of the year and I got my team, obviously I love these guys, they're my friends, but I just thought I could do this business by myself. Because I don't know, I'm quite like that, quite individualistic. But then as time went on and just the sheer caliber and quality of their ideas and their contribution, I was like, it was stupid for me to think I could do something like this by myself. And in terms of challenges, obviously lockdown's been a big challenge, but I'm grateful to my team that it's we communicate very well, we get on very well. We talk outside of this program as well. It's a very chilled and relaxed environment. So I feel as a person I've learned to the power of positivity and also the power of collaboration as well. And how it can be a really effective device for success.
You're exactly like me. It's exactly what I learned. So that's great. Anyone else want to share for you guys what you learned about yourself or about running the business?
I think the most important thing was just how we came together and formulated a new idea, something that we all had a passion for and we wanted to express. So the pencil case, for example, we all had come across bad stationery that just didn't work in the exam. And it was basically a gap in the market where we thought that we could have a potential influence.
Cool, thank you. Christine, anything else from you?
just kind of a wondering, and I wonder if you guys have thought about this already. So if you're approaching schools rather than the students directly, have you talked to them at all about whether they have budget for these kind of things?
Well, for the school that we're at now, we're not at that stage, unfortunately, but I would imagine that that would come up in the discussions. And then when it comes to things like pricing and how much we'll sell it to them for, obviously, as we're a startup, we're not looking to like maximize profit, because I don't think that's the way you start a business, like gain influence in the market. What we're going to try and do is try and set a price that is good for them and good for us as well. Something that helps us get our foot through like proverbial door. So we are quite flexible when it comes to pricing, so it can meet their like budgetary requirements. Because the one thing that we do want is recurring customers. We want to build like a solid consumer base. And I feel like the one way to do that is to be flexible on their part. So they feel like that we're being considerate, because we do want to be considerate.
Okay, great. And if you guys, well, as you guys continue to do this, what do you think your biggest challenge is going to be in getting everything off the ground?
I feel like with a lot of businesses, it's not really a factor of what you know. It's kind of a factor of like who you know. And I think the hardest bit will be like getting our foot through the door and like getting schools to listen to us, because I'm sure that schools have like their structural like ingrained and entrenched systems like buying stationery. So I feel like it'll be quite difficult to like form those connections. But I feel like when we do, it will be a lot easier. And obviously, as word of mouth spreads and like hopefully as we establish goodwill with other schools, it will gradually become easier and easier and easier to the point where schools recognize us and they're coming after our service. We're not coming after them to sell to them.
Great. Awesome. Thanks, guys. That's it from me. Sarah, did you have anything else?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's everything from me as well, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
Okay. So we're all done. Is that 1 minute ahead of time? I think that's wonderful. Okay. Thank you very much, boys. And that recording will be shared with the other judge that couldn't join today. And good luck in the finals.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sarah, Christina. Angie will be in touch, I have no doubt, you know, with everything else. But how did you find that?
Yeah, good.
Great. I like that they were taking it very seriously. I love the professionalism of them all sitting behind the tape.
Yeah.
Right.
No, they got some. Also, yeah, really good. They really understand how to get something off the ground as well. Very clever in the way that they're approaching schools, not just students, but also they know it's going to be like harder to bring the profit in at the beginning, which is just, it's so accurate. And knowing that, I think they got a really good strategy actually.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time, ladies.
A pleasure.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Bye.